Now, in a moment, I'll be talking to the former Conservative MP, David Mellor, who was a Home Office Minister in the 1980s, but I'm joined first by the current Conservative MP, Mark Reckless, who is a member of the Home Affairs Select Committee, and you have concerns that these reviews don't go far enough.
I mean, I do. We were told by the Permanent Secretary at the Home Office on Saturday that it would be a judge-led inquiry, yet now we see there's just going to be a senior legal advisor. And I think it's good that it can be got going quickly, and that's certainly a positive. But I think many MPs would like to see a judge-led inquiry that could subpoena witnesses, and it could require documents. That's the big difference.
So your fear is that people may not fully cooperate with this, and it won't have the power to demand all the paperwork?
Well, certainly people who are likely perhaps to get criminal prosecutions, I don't think anyone would really expect them to cooperate. Would be surprised if they did, and it's very important it doesn't prejudice those criminal inquiries. But at last now we've got a central place where people can go with information, because in order to get information for a particular police investigation, you have to be very specific, and to get a production order is not an easy thing. But now we have this head of the NSPCC who people who've got information can go to and give it to him.
Now, as far as the wider inquiry, is there a danger that it will be too wide? You know, that it will take in so many public bodies, it could go on forever, it could be so diffuse as an inquiry that we don't ever actually really get to the focus on the allegations around this place that are, you know, alarming people so much.
I think there is a risk it will be too diffuse. And last week, when we were questioning Simon Danczuk on the Home Affairs Committee, I was sceptical. You know, I was asking some strong questions about this. How would you limit that inquiry? How could you set sensible terms of reference? And I think that is an issue. But the particular concerns people have, I think, go to Westminster and whether there's been an establishment cover-up. And it's that we have to get to the heart of.
Well, yesterday, Lord Tebbit said that he thought there may well have been a cover-up, a political cover-up. Are you coming to that suspicion yourself? Well,
I'm concerned. There was a whip, Tim Fortescue, who back in 1995 said in a documentary that if there was a scandal involving small boys and an MP, the whips would do what they could to help the MP, so he will do as we wish forevermore. And then we saw the following year, in 1996, Giles Brandreth, a whip, said that the policy had been changed, and from December 1996, a policy of regular shredding of whips' notes was put in place. And I'd like to know, does that apply to the past? And frankly, I think people who've got information, whether they're a whip, wherever they are in society, they should come forward and give that information to Mr. Wanless and his inquiry, so it can be put to bed and we can get to the bottom of this as to what, if anything, really happened here.
I mean, so you clearly do fear that 20 years ago the culture was such that this would have been swept under the carpet or used within politics, which is even more disgusting. Really.
I know it went on a documentary and suggested they'd help the MP involved in a scandal involving small boys, so he will do as we want forevermore. And you know, the whip's job is to get sort of government business. But I think there's also a higher duty, and a duty of care to children who may be involved in this absolutely disgusting behaviour.
Now, the Labour MP Simon Danczuk, who has highlighted much of this and who gave evidence before the committee last week, says there was an attempt by a Conservative MP to stop him naming any names, and that he was confronted. Are you concerned at all by that, you know, that incident, if it indeed happened that way?
I mean, there's a feverish atmosphere at Westminster on this, and I think perhaps reports they get back and forth and things may get exaggerated or get out of hand. And I think what's important is now we've got an inquiry. We've got Mr. Wanless there. There's a single person people can go to with information and actually be expected to go and give that information so we can get to the root of this, and that's what everyone wants.
Mark Reckless, thanks very much indeed. Let's go to David Mellor, who joins us